Thank you for joining us here on another episode of the Worst Case Scenario Podcast. And we are reviewing Week 13 in the NFL and previewing Week 14. I am your host, Phil. With me are my co-hosts, D'Lo, say what up.
What up?
And we got Bennett. Bennett, say what up.
Woogie boogie, my friends.
Way to go, Warren. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys only knew some of the stuff we talk about, why we're waiting to go live, it is something else. But we are here to talk.
It's terrible. It's terrible how fucking Phil missed wearing pantyhose offline. Well, not online.
Shut up. That's only a great legendary
Why do you do that for, Phil?
more.
Is that wind resistance? So you can move faster?
We're about to be a two-man podcast. We going down to 2 man.
Yes, we are, D-Lo. We're going to get rid of the dead weight around here.
All right. Hey, let's just jump into this, man. We're trying to not make this so long, make it easier for you guys to listen to. That's why we were talking about getting rid of Bennett, so we didn't have to hear him. But no, we are going to start off with last week's games, man. And let's you guys ready to jump right into it, man?
Yeah, let's get it.
All right. Let me bring this up real quick here for the people to see. There we go. We are jumping, ladies and gentlemen, right into the games from last week, and we are jumping right in to the Bears and Lions from Thanksgiving last week. Now, we already talked about this on the Jet Up Bear Down podcast a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and just run over everything. It was the Lions picking up a 23-20 victory. Lions moved to 11-1. Bennett still don't understand the Lions and why people think they're so good, but the 11-1 seems to prove it to most of us. The Bears dropped to 4-8. Bennett, you got a short response on this?
I do. I won't go on like I did earlier. The only reason why I will respond is because you're talking shit. But, I mean, this is a shitty Bears team, a great Lions team, and it still came out 20-23.
That's right.
Very close game. Shouldn't have been that close at all. So you guys come up with the fucking answers because I can't when it comes to shit like this. The Bears are trash. The Lions are great, but you get a game like this, you're gonna call that divisional rivalry. Plus, it's a short week, so I think this is bullshit. The Lions are fake. The Bears are trash. They did fire their coach, so they'll probably get better eventually. Probably not right off the start, but there you go.
D'Lo, you got anything on this game?
Like Bennett's been saying all week, man. Goodbye, Everflus. You know, I mean, just
Cause you guys happy to fire your coach. This game did it.
Happy to see him go, bud. I mean, honestly, happy to see him go. Yeah, first time Bears have ever fired their coach mid-season or in season. So
it was so crazy because that actually broke while we were doing the Jet Up Bear Down podcast the other day. That news actually broke, and it was insane.
Right after I finished my rant on Everflus.
Yes, and then bam, dude, he got the boot. So very interesting.
My voice.
Listen, me and D'Lo get it. We know why the Lions are. Hey, listen, I don't think, and this is coming from me, and I am a hater. I don't believe that the Bears are as bad of a team as the record shows. You know, you do have inconsistency in the quarterback play from Caleb Williams, but I believe that the last two games, he's looked pretty damn good.
Oh, yeah,
but
for sure.
The Lions are the Lions, and outside of their one loss this year, I believe this was the closest game that they had, and it was to the Bears. So, say division rivalry, say whatever you want to. I just don't believe that the Bears are really that horrible. I'm not saying that they're
coaching negligence. It was clearly coaching negligence the whole time.
Yeah. Or else
look, man, we're the Bears are a blocked field goal, a Hail Mary pass, and
overtime.
A couple coaching blunders away from being an 8-4 team right now, bro.
I believe it.
So
I believe it.
You know,
and I know how that feels because the Jets have been in, like, I think 5 of our losses have been by one score or less. And in some of those games we've been winning until the very end, only to have the victory swept away. I mean, just like this past week, we were on key to win that game, and then we throw an interception that is returned by our own former first-round draft pick. It's a life of a Jet fan. So I mean, it is what it is.
I don't think that's coaching more though. I think that's quarterback play.
No, I think we're cursed. It's the curse of the Jets, man. So, but all right, man. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game on Turkey Day, man. We had the Cowboys picking up a 27-20 win over the Giants. Cowboys moved to 5-7, while the Giants dropped to 2-8. Cooper Rush, 195 yards, 1 touchdown. Had 112 yards from their running back, the Waddle. I know Bennett's going to clown on me for that name. This was just another chance for DeVito. I think DeVito's hurt. He's not going to play. They're looking at Locke. I think Locke's going to take over there. D'Lo, what do you think about the Cowboys and Giants here?
I mean, right now they're both two franchises that are definitely down. Cooper Rush, I mean, he's one of those backup quarterbacks, almost like a Jim Sorgi. He'll continue to get paid throughout his career, but I mean, he's going to be a backup. Nobody's going to really give him the shot. They also said that they're drawing up packages for Trey Lance there in Dallas, so that they're definitely trying to see what they got as far as their backups go and things like that. But there's talks that the Cowboys might retain Mike McCarthy, and that just seems crazy to me, man. With a team that was supposed to be so talented that you didn't need to go out and sign any free agents, you didn't need to make any moves at the trade deadline, and all this. But yet they're in this bad a shape, and we're heading this direction before Dak even got hurt. And you're saying that the coach can keep his job? I mean, it's just crazy to me, man.
Do you guys see McCarthy losing his job, and do you see Daboll losing his job?
The GM has already came out and said that they want to keep Daboll. They really like the way Daboll or communicates with the players and things like that. And the GM even put it on himself. He said, part of this is my fault, man, for not putting the right talent on the field for him.
We lost D'Lo.
Did we? Well, all right. You got any input on this game, Bennett? Go ahead and drop some knowledge on me.
It was two trash teams, and when you put them on paper, you get what you got out of the game. The final outcome is the Cowboys actually have some stars, and they got talent in places, and it's hard to find a player worth name on the Giants. So it was a close game. It was divisional, but still, at the same time, at this point in time, I know the Cowboys ain't got Dak, and Cooper Rush ain't been the best, but shouldn't you be blowing teams out like this?
You would think so. Dallas came in with such higher hopes this year, so to be sitting at 5-7, and here's the horrible stat in all this: Dallas is 1-5 at home. That is horrible. That is very unexpected. Yeah, that's bad. We got Makai Higgins in the chat, man, waving his hand. If you got a question, ask it, Makai, and anybody else can ask the question. But no, it's Dallas. They had such high hopes, and it's always injuries. It's always something there. It's Dallas always has an excuse, and the 1-5 at home, that is daunting because that is their home stadium. And to only have one win and 5 losses. Yeah, I mean that means 4 of their 5 wins have come on the road. That is insane to me, man. So we have D'Lo back now. All right, if there is nothing else on the Dallas Cowboys, man, we're gonna move on. And the final game from Turkey Day, we had the Packers picking up a 30-17 win over the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins dropped to 5-7. The Packers moved to 9-3. And the Packers are trying to force us into believing in them, but I believe that. I even listened to something that Biggs said the other day when Biggs was on the Jet Up Bear Down podcast. And I still believe that they're going to be one and done come playoff time. I still do not have the faith in them that I do in the Lions. It is what it is. But the cold weather, it didn't seem to have too much of effect on Tua. But, D'Lo, what do you think about this game? The Dolphins and the Packers.
I mean, it played out just like we kind of expected, man. Tua is terrible in weather that's below 40 degrees.
No, he did good. He had a good game, right, Phil?
Yeah, his game was a lot. It was a lot better than was expected, but the Dolphins just didn't come out to play that day. I mean, I don't know.
Was that trash time stats? Did he do all that and like the coming back?
No, he did throw a touchdown in the fourth quarter, but it wasn't. It was like 3 minutes left in the game, so I guess you might say one of the touchdowns. But overall, he put up solid numbers. He had no interceptions. He had 2 touchdowns, 365 yards. The problem was the line didn't hold for him. He was sacked 5 times. So I mean.
And apparently their defense was leaky as fuck that day, man. Because I mean, they just it looked like the Packers had control of the game from the start, man. So
what really hurt them when you look at the stats in this game, what hurt Miami was that powerful running game that they have there was non-existent. They ran for a total of 39 yards on 14 attempts. I mean, wow. You got a quarterback that can run. You got 2 running backs that can put up numbers, and yet 39 rushing yards. That tells me everything that you need to know. Plus the quarterback throwing 46 times in a game. The writing was on the wall. Bennett, you got anything to add on this?
Nah, we went over a little bit with the Jet Up Bear Down with Biggs and the Packers. Again, I think the Dolphins have gotten better with Tua. Of course, you're going into Green Bay. That's at this time of year, that's tough for anybody.
That's true.
Green Bay, like I've said, and you guys have denied, is the real deal. And you know what? After what you just said from the game previous that you previewed or reviewed, this week it's the Packers and Lions. Let's see what happens, fellas.
Well, we already saw it. We saw it just 2 or 3 weeks ago. And they picked up the win.
It's a different story now.
This is going to be their test, you know, to see if the Packers can take the next step and try to secure themselves probably a wild card spot. I still think no matter what, I think the Lions are taking this division. So
yeah. All right, we'll move on to the Friday night game, the first ever Black Friday game. The NFL
they did last year. You dipshit.
No, it did not. This was the first ever. They said it.
They did Black Friday last year.
No, they didn't.
Thank you. I just want to make sure of that. Anyway, and it was almost a shocker. It was almost an upset as the Chiefs do get the win. They got a 19-17 win over the Raiders. Raiders dropped to 2-10. Chiefs moved to 11-1. And everything that Bennett has said about the Lions is exactly how me and D'Lo feel about the Chiefs. I don't trust them. There wasn't a whole lot here to be happy about. Aiden O'Connell kind of looked like a stud, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Meanwhile, Mahomes throws for 306 yards, threw the ball 46 times. He had 1 touchdown, but Mahomes was sacked 5 times. Bennett, what's your take on this game?
Did Mahomes have any picks?
Mahomes did not have any picks, bud.
No, he didn't.
That's surprising.
But Crosby and the rest of that defense got after him early, and they stayed on it. And for the Raiders to be 2-10, I kind of see it. But at the same time, if the Raiders would have presented themselves as such as they did this time, they might have had more games won, or at least be more competitive than 2-10. I watched the game, and the Chiefs look. The Chiefs look like a playoff team, but they don't look like a dominating team. And the Raiders look like they were more than happy to accept the challenge and rise to it. They just came up short at the end.
I think Micaiah is trying to say in the chat that this was the second year that they've had a Black Friday game, which would make Micaiah a dumbass just like Bennett. This was the first year of a Black Friday. Anybody that has Google can Google it and see.
Like I said, I watched the game, and they kept saying it over and over on commentary. It's the second year they've done it. So.
Okay,
If I'm a dumbass because I listen to it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to Google it. Dio, talk about this game. What do you think about this game?
Like you said, man, we're waiting for that collapse with the Chiefs. It may never come, but I'm gonna tell you one thing.
Came with the Bills. It already came with the Bills.
That was one loss though, man. I'm expecting either a couple game slide at the end of the season, or they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose in the first round of the playoffs, man. You can't play this sloppy and especially in the playoffs and
that's funny, I'm expecting the same thing out of the Lions. So.
Yeah, well, and that's what we've been saying, but I don't know, man. It's just one of those things. Travis Kelce came out this week, and he really put a target on the Chiefs' back. He said that he personally guaranteed a three-peat for the Chiefs this year. So, and I mean, that's to be expected.
Me and you are wrong.
To catch more than 2 passes a game if he wants to guarantee anything.
Yeah. No, I refuse to accept that, Phil.
Last year the Jets and Dolphins played on Black Friday.
That's your own goddamn team, dude, and you don't even know that shit.
Bennett and Micaiah, I'm sorry. You guys were right. Go to hell.
Sometimes Bennett gets like a drunk fucking prophecy, you know what I mean? And
I just told you where I got it from. The commentators kept saying over and over again, you retard.
All right. Well, you were right. And like we said, the Chiefs being 11-1, they're 6-0 at home. These guys should be coming out and should be blowing teams out, and they're not. They're barely winning games.
But they haven't. They haven't all year. They've been skimming by their fucking teeth all year.
I think Oakland has found their new number one guy in Brock Bowers. He had 10 catches again, 140 yards and a touchdown. That dude is a stud. They just got to figure out the quarterback, because O'Connell, he came out and threw for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns. But we've also seen him where he's come in and he's thrown for like 125 yards and 3 interceptions. So it's.
Well, I mean, how do you got to feel being Antonio Pierce, and they haven't fired you yet? But there's a report that came out yesterday that the Raiders are going to aggressively pursue Deion Sanders. It's like, dude, if you're going to do that, just go ahead and cut me loose, man. Like, why? Yeah. What's the point of sitting here fucking around and letting me finish the season when you know already that I'm getting fired the day after the season ends, man?
Yeah. Well, they came into the season with no quarterback, really. So I mean, it's. I don't know.
Well, you say that, but you've always been a fucking Gardner Minshew fan. So, which is it?
Did they not have faith in Gardner Minshew, though? I think that they thought he was like a, I think
he's a bridge. He's a bridge guy. Yeah.
Transition. So,
but,
we'll see what happens with the Raiders. Like I said, they got some spot. They got Max Crosby. They got Bowers. They got a few other guys on there. So if they got the right coach in there, but who's to say this guy isn't the right coach? Like, get the right quarterback, and then we can see where we go from there. You guys got anything you want to add in on this?
Contention for the first round draft pick. I'm not saying they're getting it, but you got 2 wins. They're in contention.
Yeah, it's them and the Giants right now are both 2-10. So
Hey Bennett, before we move on, I totally spaced this when we were talking about the Bears game. I forgot to ask Bennett if he heard this. Did you hear anything today that reports out of Chicago that that the owners are interested in selling the team to Jeff Bezos? And I heard that out of several like Bears reporters, not like just random people. These were like Bears reporters out of Hallis Hall guys, like that. There's big talks.
I did not hear that. Also, as bad as shit's gone with the ownership that there is, I do not want Jeff Bezos to be in charge. It seems like it never goes good when you get mainstream media people in charge of your fucking team.
Well, they start running it like a business rather than like the love for their team and shit, man. And that's kind of what the McCaskies have done for the last several years as well. And I don't like that, man. If you're not going to run your team like you love the product that you're putting on the field, more so rather that you're just trying to sell a product, that's when things go wrong in the NFL.
Well, you'd rather promote jersey sales and ticket sales, which is good, but you'd rather promote that than your team being better than the next team. And that's not good.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you a little breaking news right now. Bill Belichick has interviewed for the North Carolina head coaching spot. That's interesting because I would never think of Bill I'd never think of a Belichick.
That's a terrible fit, and you know what that is? That is a kick in the ass to NFL teams too. If you want to start interviewing Belichick, you better do it. That's a scare tactic, man. He is not a college coach. He's not going to go out and recruit kids and go to their houses.
He has a fondness for college girls.
That dude looks like he's pissed off all the time, man. Like
he is dating a college girl, though. Do you know that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen that. But I mean, is she not there? Is she not there because the dude's worth about $100 million?
Come on, man. You're trying to say.
That guy has a lot of charisma, man.
Belichick. I mean, we're talking about Belichick here, baby.
Yeah, he got good.
I mean, I'm sure when he's walking into her house, he's got all of his rings on and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at that bitch.
He had to do the walk of shame. They said one.
I seen it. Yeah, when he came out of the house and he didn't even have a shirt on and shit. It was crazy.
Yeah. And then her dad's younger than him.
You think he rolls up in the house and one of them fucking rascals? Where's dinner? Where's dinner?
Getting it. All right, let's head on. We were doing well on time. The Chargers picked up a 17-13 win over the Falcons. The Falcons dropped to 6-6. The Chargers moved to 8-4. I can tell you this much, guys. Over the last, I'd say 3 or 4 weeks, Kirk Cousins has played like shit.
Last 3 games.
Yeah, he's 4 interceptions in this game, no touchdowns, 245 passing yards. What kept them in the game as close as they were was really Robinson, 102 yards, 1 touchdown. And our new favorite receiver, McConkey. 9 catches, 117 yards for McConkey. I mean, I love that dude. That dude is
McConkey.
Bennett, what do you think? What do you think about this? This is what's your input on this? This is your coach, the guy that you're big on, Harbaugh. He got beat up by his brother's team last week. He rebounded with a close, but it's a victory, a 17-13 win. What's your thoughts on this, man?
Who are you asking, me or D-Lo?
I said you, Bennett.
Oh. Chargers are on the up and up. They did lose this previous week. We'll see. We'll talk about that later. But I think Jim Harbaugh's got to go in the right direction. It's just weird for the Chargers because they've been so run and gun for so long. And now they're trying to dial it back and do a kind of like defense and running game, like smash mouth football. That's what Harbaugh likes. On the other end, fucking the Falcons started off hot with Cousins and just cooled off, and he has just been terrible.
Yeah.
The last 3 weeks, I seen a stat the other day that said first like 8-10 weeks, I don't remember what it was, but he had the highest QBR rating in the red zone at like 98, I think. And the last 3 weeks, he has the lowest in the NFL at 2. He has a 2 QBR in the red zone. That's
when you in the last 4 games, he's only thrown for 300 yards one time, but he's only thrown for 300 yards one time since back in week 5 when he threw for 509 yards. He's only thrown for 300 yards one time.
Pressure him, he can't handle the pressure. So
he's not thrown a touchdown in the last 3 games, and he has 6 interceptions total over the last 3 games.
Yeah, he's been trash lately.
A lot of people
talking about benching him and putting him in Penix.
Yeah, which I mean, go ahead because I want to see the world see that this dude can't play.
We'll get to that later on, though.
Yeah. But D'Lo, you got any insight or input you would like to throw in on the Chargers?
What'd you say that final score ended up being on that?
17-13.
Okay, check this out. As bad as Kirk Cousins played, I was watching the final drive on that game, and Drake London dropped a huge pass that would have put them within, like, I think it would have put them within the 5-yard line, man. So I mean, I guess they were still in the position to win at the end of the game, but yeah, Kirk Cousins, man. I mean, he's really struggling right now. I don't know if it's they're trying to over complex things in the offense. Or his receivers just aren't responding to him, and maybe he's selling passes. I don't know. I haven't watched a whole lot of it. I've just checked out the stats afterwards. Like I said, I was watching Red Zone the other day, and I seen the final play, and I seen that Drake London dropped a huge fucking pass, man. I mean, and it was right there, man. I mean, he should have caught it. There's no doubt about it. But other than that, I mean, the Chargers, they're starting to discover their identity a little bit. Unfortunately, that identity I still believe that identity is going to end up costing them Justin Herbert. He's probably going to end up leaving there because it just doesn't seem like he's the right fit there, man. So
you're right.
You don't think so, Bennett?
No, I think he's right.
Yeah, something's happened to him ever since he came back. He had an injury. I think it was like his sternum or something. It was like a year ago or whatever. I'm just saying, like, this season and most of last season has been a different Justin Herbert than what we've seen.
I don't think it's so much an injury. Like, the injury has something definitely to do with it, but I think it has something to do with the coaching and the way Harbaugh
I do too.
He don't want to put shit on his quarterback's shoulders so much, which is a good thing.
Yeah, but Herbert was
it definitely can be, but man, I mean,
he's when
you break a quarterback's confidence down, I mean, if he's used to being the guy that in the clutch moments, you turn to him, and that's not like that anymore, man. I mean, you can hurt a guy's confidence for sure, and Justin Herbert,
a dangerous team that you guys talk about all the time. Put Herbert with the Lions. They're a real dangerous team.
I would agree. They let him go out and just play the way he plays.
Make some consideration in saying that they're fucking for real. That's scary. That's scary as shit.
Yeah.
But,
it appears that your total lack of confidence is in golf.
Well, I see their coaching breaking down too. Sometimes.
Okay, that's what's up.
Golf's going back to his second Super Bowl this year, man. You got to face that.
He didn't win his first one. He ain't gonna win this one.
Well, we'll see. But he's gonna make it there. That's something, man. So. That's something. All right, guys, we'll move on to the next game. And we had the Steelers, man, and the Bengals putting up points like it's a basketball game in middle school. 44-38. The Steelers pick up the win. Steelers move to 9-3 on the season. The Bengals dropped to 4-8. The Bengals are kind of a real big disappointment. I mean, they started out 0-3, and it's just continued to snowball as the season went. They still have their quarterback in there, but Russell Wilson, man, we questioned them starting him over Fields after he came back from his injury. Wilson threw for 414 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game. Just lighting it up, man. D'Lo, what'd you think about this game, man?
I mean, I think that Russell Wilson continues to prove why Shanahan's smarter than most people, and you know they're going to turn around and try to sign him to probably a 3 to 4 year deal after the season. He's going to get paid big money again. So
what happens to Justin Fields there?
He's gone. He's leaving. They could offer him a backup type deal, but he's gonna probably want to go somewhere to where he can possibly compete. You know what I mean? So, like if he goes to the Jets and Rodgers came out and was, I'm just saying if he went to the Jets and Rodgers was stinking it up the first couple games of the season, you could see them throwing a Justin Fields in, saying, you know, this dude's capable, so let's see what he's got. So it's just one of those things, man. I see Justin Fields wanting to go somewhere where he can compete. I could see him going to a Seattle, possibly trying to compete with Geno Smith, something like that. So,
Bennett.
Go
ahead. Finish up, D'Lo.
No, the Steelers are a good team, and Cincinnati continues. I think, even though I think Zach Taylor's a good coach and shit, I think he's probably going to be the one that gets sacrificed at the end of the season for their bad season this year. So,
all right, Bennett. Burrows throws for 309 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. It's not enough. Another stat here, man. This game was played in Cincinnati. Cincinnati is 1-5 at home. We just talked about this with the Cowboys. Bennett, what'd you think about what do you think about the Bengals moving forward and the Steelers moving forward?
I'm not going to try to make this take too long, but I got all kinds of points to make on this game. So I agree with D'Lo. Zach Taylor probably not going to be there. You're losing. You're 1-5 at home. The Bengals have been in there. Like sometimes their offense is clicking, sometimes it's not. Sometimes their defense is clicking, sometimes it's not. You go to the Steelers, they're real coached. I do want to bring up the fact that you guys brought up Fields. Fields finished the game. He's the one that finished him off. They brought in, like I said, I watched a lot of games this weekend. They brought in Fields on 3rd and 4th down on the last drive where he ran for the first downs and ended and allowed them to clock it out. So, yeah, Fields going somewhere else, that's probably going to happen. Do they want him to go? No, they probably want to keep him in their back pocket to finish games like this off. Unfortunately for him, they're going to stick with Russell Wilson, who's done an excellent job. The last thing I'd like to bring up is, I mean, if you get rid of Zach as offensive or as the coach there, yeah, they're 4-8. They've not done well. He is a good coach. Where do you go from here? There's only a couple scenarios that I see. Really.
I think a lot of people would love to have Burrows. I think a lot of people would love to have Burrows, Chase. It looks like they may have
a talented team. That's what I'm saying. There's only 2 ways you go from here, and it's crazy. It might sound. These names have been cast all across the NFL, but going back at it, the 2 names that stick out the most is Ben Johnson and Belichick for 2 totally different reasons. Ben Johnson to Chase to the next step, which is a Super Bowl, because they've already, as far as numbers go, they got it great. And then Belichick just to complete the system, make it a whole, and continue on. Because like I said, sometimes their offense is on, and sometimes it's off, and sometimes their defense is on, and sometimes it's off. And who's better to do that and complete that than Belichick?
What'd you say?
I just don't know if Belichick fits the system right, because they already got a talented squad there, and Belichick's going to want personnel control, and then he's going to end up doing some shit like trading guys like T. Higgins away for draft picks or for this or that, and it's just I don't think that's what you.
Belichick, because this is the one team that I don't think he'll go in there and make all kinds of changes to. If it goes to like the Bears, or if he goes to the Jets or somebody like that, like we don't think that none of that's going to happen. But if he did, he's going to make tons of changes because there's a lot of weaknesses all around. Where when it comes to the Bengals, there's a lot of weaknesses, but yet at the same there's not bad coaching. It's just you gotta. Somebody hasn't put it together there, and it should have been put together a long time ago.
Let me ask you this, guys. I'd like to hear your guys' opinion on this. What do you guys think about have the Bengals found their future, like their running back now in Chase Brown?
He's not bad, but he's not Mixon. I think they underestimated Mixon. I think they hate that losing him.
He's really came on though. On the season now,
But he's
Brown
not
has
Mixon, man.
he's got 677 yards, 6 touchdowns. He's really came on 3 out of the last 4 games. He's come on pretty strong. Only one time rushing below 70 yards in the last 4 games. So I mean,
if you want to really do that, Phil, if you can pull that up and compare his stats with Mixon, and Mixon's been hurt.
Mixon
when they lost Mixon, they lost a lot.
Well, Mixon this year, from what I've seen, he might be the number 3 back in the NFL this season when he's healthy, because McCaffrey's in his injury, so you got to take him away. And so when we're talking about, we know who the top 2 guys are without having to put a 1 or 2 on a certain guy. We all know Henry and Saquon Barkley, but Mixon, man, I've seen him in games where he's just taken over, and he's really helped that squad. He is battling some injuries right now, but he's really played well this season, man, as he has most of his career.
What sticks out for me from Mixon is James Conner, which he's been off lately, but these guys actually take control of their teams and say, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it, and this is how it's going to be done, and we're going to and they put it in the mind of the offense, and they get it done.
That's facts. Facts.
You know what's crazy, man? Mason came down there to Houston, and he took the load over. But they had a running back down there last year that was solid, man, and you haven't heard anything from that guy this year. I can't remember what his name was, but
you're talking about they had 2. They had Dameon Pierce that was down there.
Damon Pierce is who I'm talking about. And then they had one of those guys that was once in Buffalo. God damn, I can't even.
Who was that dude? They had the dude from New England that was there, bud. The white boy that was really more of a fullback.
I can't think of his name either.
It was.
I think he's actually in Cincinnati right now.
The white boy?
No, the one that was with Buffalo. I think he either. Okay, then it's the one that signed with the Giants. There was I think it was Singletary.
It was Singletary. That's it.
Oh yeah, because Moss came from Indy. They traded. Buffalo did the trade with Indy, and Moss was there, and then he signed in the offseason as they thought he was going to be the number 1 running back in Cincinnati, and he just couldn't put up the numbers, man. Just couldn't do it.
Yeah, but Brown's not the answer either, man. I'm not saying he's bad, but he's not the answer.
Yeah. All right, guys.
When you get Mixon is he's actually like a running back and a leader. And he tells the guys where to go and, hey, blocking schemes and shit like that. Mixon's a totally different animal than Brown is. So Brown's done a good job, but he's not Mixon.
All right, guys.
We've seen it.
All right, let's move on to the next game, man. And we had the Vikings picking up a 23-22 win over the Cardinals. The Cardinals dropped to 6-6. The Vikings move on to 10-2 on the season. The Vikings miraculous. I don't know what you want to say this season is for them, but I can remember when we did our thoughts on the teams and where teams were going to finish this year and all that. We were not high on the Vikings. I in fact put that they would probably not win past 4 games, and here they are at 10 wins with Sam Darnold as their quarterback, and that shocks me. But Vikings are 5-1 at home. They're representing their home like you should. They've won 5 straight now, the Vikings, and they had to rally to win this game. And you look at Sam Darnold, he had 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. The line did fail him. He was sacked 5 times in this game. And it's sad when Sam Darnold is tied for the leading rusher on your team with 22 yards. That's a problem there. But they won the game. Kyler Murray throwing 1 touchdown but 2 interceptions. Just couldn't get it rolling. And like you said, Connor, it's been on the slump. He had 68 yards rushing in this game on 17 attempts. That's not good. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to go very far with your starting running back doing that. D'Lo, tell me what you thought about the Vikings and Cardinals game.
Well, yeah, I mean, the rushing game pretty much was taken out for the Vikings, like you said. But, you can pretty much stay in the game when you got a receiver like when you got receivers like Jefferson and Addison, and then you got a good defense like they got. So, it's just that's the way it's gone. But let me ask you guys a question. Sam Darnold at the beginning of this year, he signed a 1-year, $10 million deal with the Vikings, and they drafted that McCarthy. Now, McCarthy went down with an injury, and there was also a lot of talks with McCarthy that, he wasn't physically ready to get out there and play pro ball. Like he didn't know how to do a lot of play action type shit. There was just a lot of shit that he didn't know how to do real well. Even though he played for Harbaugh in Michigan. So my question is, what do you think happens with Darnold next year? I mean, the dude's played really well. Do you see him getting like a $35 million deal, or $35 million a year type of deal? Or do you see somebody giving him another $10 million a year? Like, I don't expect him to be in Minnesota only for the fact that they did draft a guy in the first round. And so,
He signed only a 1-year deal. Do you guys know that?
Yeah, it was a 1-year, $10 million deal that he signed.
Well,
so
they drafted a quarterback already who was supposed to be like the heir apparent. For whatever reason, he's McCarthy. So
yeah,
it's like, do they wait for him to try to give that back to him? I've already heard reports about possibly Rodgers and the Jets trading him and whatever.
Well, I mean, dude, anybody that's saying that right now is only saying that because they're saying that he's going to follow the Favre fucking playbook and all that. So there's nothing been speculated from Minnesota that Rodgers is going there. And honestly, why would you even want that when Darnold's played better than Rodgers this year?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Now, Bennett, what do you think?
Well, I mean, as far as the quarterback situation goes, I don't think Rodgers will be in New York anymore. But I think he'll find his place more down south to a lesser, but more convenient for him place, and like
Tennessee, maybe?
Carolina or Jacksonville.
You talking about Rodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Rodgers will be back in New York. If he's going to,
why wouldn't
we own the rights to him? We own the rights. We'd have to trade him away. We've already paid him.
You're going to trade him away. You're not going to keep him.
Why would we? We already paid him all the money that's owed to him. Why would we?
You suck so bad. Why would you fucking keep him?
Well, because whatever quarterback we get is probably, if we draft one, they're probably going to want him to sit behind Rodgers. It makes no sense on why you would trade him away. You've already paid him all the money. So unless the team has given you part of the money that you already paid him on that $100 million contract.
There's
It
no
makes-
problem with that in Jacksonville. We'll find out about Carolina, but
It makes absolutely no sense on why New York would do that unless they're getting a high draft pick. And I just don't see that happening. So
And see, Bennett said,
being as
Go
they, let's ask another question to you, Phil, since you're a fucking weirdo when it comes to shit like this. Why would you?
well,
want
nobody
to-
even answered my question.
I believe that Darnold. I believe that they keep Darnold in Minnesota. They're going to offer him something. I just don't think anybody else is sitting back saying, like, yeah, they're surprised, but I think that they're like, can he maintain this? I think that Minnesota.
You don't think that Tennessee is like, man, we could probably do something with Darnold for a couple of years. You know what I mean? You don't think that
shit down there?
Who's the guy that played at Tennessee last year?
you're talking about Tannehill, dude.
And nobody signed him.
You're talking.
And all this time,
No, nobody's.
with everything we were saying that he was the next best quarterback that could start somewhere, and yet people have had issues with quarterbacks, and Tannehill has not came back this season. That's weird, but
That's not weird at all when you consider the fact that maybe Rodgers shouldn't come back next season.
okay. And two, if Rodgers came back next year, it's probably his last season. All right, the
It's
Jets would
definitely
look
his
at
last
it. The
season.
Jets would look
He
at
has
it.
another season like this. This is last season. I don't know why this season shouldn't be his last.
But it's up to him, really. All right, and the Jets they bring him back. But
Says who? You?
if the Jets are rebuilding and the Jets are using him to for their new quarterback or whatever to sit
He's not
behind
gonna
him,
help.
they're going to use that to sell tickets on Barb's last season for him breaking any records that he's going to break. You know what I'm saying? So you got to think about that from a team standpoint of making money. D'Lo, you know what I'm talking about. When Albert Pujols came back and signed that last part of the year with the Cardinals, it was really all about because he was trying to chase down the home run record. He was, you know what I'm saying, to see if he could pass up whoever. And he was a former Cardinal, and
That's
it was just selling
baseball,
tickets.
bro. We're talking about football, real sport.
Come on.
No, but at the same time, I guarantee. Here's the thing, man. Like everybody keeps throwing up these stats that Rodgers is statistically worse than Zach Wilson this year and all that. But I can guarantee you one thing, dude. The tickets numbers are higher this year, selling for higher numbers this year than they were when Zach Wilson was your starting quarterback.
Oh, no, but
That's the difference.
His numbers are way better than Zach Wilson's too. Rodgers has.
Well, here the last couple of games they have been, but the first like 6 games they weren't, dude.
No, I'm talking about, but like over the season, Rodgers has 20 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. You would never hear that from Zach Wilson. Like,
Dude, you're in New York. You're going to sell out no matter what.
No, you're not. We don't sell out. That's what I'm saying. You don't. We don't sell out. The Giants don't sell out. Even though we're in New York, there's not sellouts all the time. It's not.
Well, it's because you guys are both putting a piss poor product on the field.
And we have been for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not denying that. But anyway, will Darnold be back? I say yes. If anything,
Okay.
they're going to have him back to get McCarthy because
Here's the thing,
really
though.
high on McCarthy.
Here's the thing. I mean, okay, so if Darnold is coming back to the Vikings, what kind of deal do you expect him to try to negotiate? I just basically,
it's probably a 2-3 year.
yeah. What do you think? What are you thinking he's going to ask for per year? Like, what do you think that'll be his per year salary?
I think
Because he's only making $10 million a year this year. I mean, his career was on its way down coming into this season.
He won't get 20. He's going to get probably 12 to 15 million. It'll probably be a 2-year with a 3rd-year option based on how he's doing. They're not going to put themselves in debt over this, and realizing that in a year or in 2 years he might be the backup sitting behind McCarthy. So I mean, that's what they're hoping.
Well, that's why I foresee you're going to see somebody like a Tennessee come out of nowhere and say we'll give him $35 million a year or $30 million a year, and it's like, does he stay in a stable situation up there in Minnesota to
Well, why
where he
don't they-
knows that he can be?
Why wouldn't Tennessee
What's
offer
that?
that deal? Why wouldn't Tennessee offer this deal then to Russell Wilson?
And they very well could, but I foresee Pittsburgh coming in with a very strong offer for Russell Wilson, man.
Yeah,
So
they're gonna keep Russell.
But Pittsburgh
Yeah.
isn't known really for working the money up.
I mean, they paid Big Ben good money when he was there. He stayed competitive with the league averages and shit. So
Yeah, but this is a guy that they drafted. He
They're
was
gonna give him
homegrown
what he
talent.
asked for. It might not be something outrageous, but they're gonna give Russell what he wants.
I
Russell-
foresee
nobody-
I foresee Russell Wilson getting about 40 to 45 a year.
Because he knows this is the last big contract he's ever going to get. Russell
Yeah, he's
Wilson is older. I mean,
He's like 32 this year, but he's probably only going to
Say
sign.
that, but these guys that's like 30 some years old in their early 30s, you say that's going to be their last contract, but they don't. Sometimes there's like multiple contracts after that.
no, I said this is the last big contract for like big time money.
Yeah,
That's what I was
but
saying.
you
I
say
don't
that,
think it is. I don't think it is.
but you say that, Phil. But Aaron Rodgers signed his $150 million deal at what, 38 years old, and Kirk Cousins just signed this offseason at 36 or 37 years old. So,
Russell Wilson is 36 years old.
oh no shit, I thought he was only like 32.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is his last big contract, and they're not. And I understand what you're saying, but Rodgers was a multi-time MVP. Russell Wilson wasn't. He did win a Super Bowl, and he went to 2 Super Bowls, but for whatever reason, Seattle was just they fell out of love with him, and Denver never fell in love with him. They signed
Russell
him.
Wilson still produces, though. Rodgers hasn't for years.
How can you say that? Rodgers produced just 3 years ago. What?
What?
Yeah, he put. Look up his numbers, man. Look up his stats, man.
I think he was MVP. I think he
That's
was MVP like 4 years ago.
Yeah. What are you talking about, bud?
4 years ago. It's not 3.
I can pull it up while we start talking about, because I don't want to get too far into just that, but I'll look it up and come back with you guys. But let's move on to the next game. We had the Colts picking up a 25-24 win over the Patriots. Patriots dropped to 3-10 on the season. Colts moved to 6-7. Once again, another team, the Patriots, 1-5 at home. It's a bad stat, man. But Richardson throws for TD and runs for 2 with 12 seconds left, and they picked up the win over the Patriots. What you guys think about this game, D'Lo?
Man, I'll tell you what, some of these games were a lot closer than anticipated. I mean, it just things came down to the wire, man. But yeah, the Colts ended up pulling it off with my other picks that I do every week for my uncle's little football pool that he does. I took the Patriots I took the Colts, and I took the Patriots in this one with you guys. And so this was my only loss this week, but shit could have went either way. I still have no faith whatsoever in Anthony Richardson. I think he's probably one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, probably one of the bigger first-round busts. The dude can't throw a ball, can't read a defense. The Colts are not in good hands when it comes to their quarterback situation. So,
Hey, D'Lo, real quick, 1 second, I looked that up. Rodgers, man, that what Bennett's trying to say, just 3 seasons ago, 4,115 yards, 37 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
No, I didn't say. I said 4 seasons ago.
Yeah, this is 3.
4 seasons ago, he was an MVP, I believe.
Yeah, that was when he threw 48 touchdowns, 5 picks, 4,299 yards. And then 1 year later, he throws 4,100 yards, 37 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
My hatred has blinded me.
I understand
Yes.
that. I let it do it to me all the time. So I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I feel you on the Richardson thing. I'm not sold on him. The Colts are a better team than the Patriots. So to have to come back in the final seconds and win by 1, yeah, they got the win. And I know that's what matters. Matters is W's. But the Patriots, man, they're not that far off from a couple of wins here, you know what I'm saying? Because they've lost a few by 3 points or less, man. Like, it's crazy. But I don't believe in Richardson. I don't think he's that good. In this game,
You know,
go ahead.
The more that we're talking about it, the more I'm thinking that we may see several quarterbacks on the market this offseason, man. Not
several quarterbacks play musical chairs. I do believe.
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Well, because maybe the Colts decide to move on from Richardson. They're also going to probably let Flacco go. Flacco can decide whether or not he's going to retire or try to find another job somewhere.
He got to be done, dude. You get a job in a booth, man.
I could see him saying, "Look, man, if somebody's going to let me be competitive, I'll come in and sign one more, 1 or 2 more 2-year deal." But not just that. I forgot all about when we were talking about the Vikings. They also got Daniel Jones behind Darnold, man. And so it's like, is somebody going to take a flyer on him next year? Like there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks out there. That's wild, man. But my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off on that.
When it comes to Richardson was 12 of 24 for 109 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Bennett, tell me what you thought about this game.
Well, after you said that, I don't like to say this, but you do, so I'm going to say in your words, that dude is not a quarterback. He's a running back that throws the ball sometimes.
Well, I believe that his biggest issue is that, like with a lot of quarterbacks in this league, he struggles to read a defense. And so when option 1 is covered up, his next option in his mind is to run the ball because he can't read a defense.
At the end of the day, evaluating both teams, the only reason why the Colts got the win over the Patriots is talent. Period.
Yeah,
the Patriots they're not bad coached. The Colts are not bad coached. At the end of the day, the Colts just have more talent on the field than the Patriots, whether it come be offense.
They have a lot more talent, so you expect them to.
I didn't say they have great talent. I'm saying they have.
No, I'm saying that the Colts have a lot more talent on their roster than what New England does, and so for them to have to come back and win in the final seconds of the game by 1, it's like, what's going on there? I don't think that they have the right coach in Indy either, and I don't think that they have the right quarterback. So that's my opinion on it.
I think Shane Steichen can be a good coach. I just I think that sometimes good coaches get stuck in terrible situations by GMs doing dumb shit like drafting guys like Anthony Richardson.
Maybe that's your first coaching option, and you take it because you want to be head coach, and maybe you get put in a shitty situation. You just do it because you should be head coach, and maybe you should sit back like Bieniemy did. Bieniemy did for years, just sitting back and
and Ben Johnson did it as well last year. He was the Redskins wanted Johnson, and he was like, "This ain't the right situation for me." So,
but look, we get on to right away. But look at the size of Richardson. When you look at the size, his physique, when you look at his 40 time, when you look at all that, you're like, shit, look at the size of this dude. And especially when you put him up against a former first rounder.
I never look at shit like that, Phil, and you shouldn't either, and I'll tell you why. He's one person. He might be the main person that holds the ball. But there's 11 other people on the field, 10 in this situation. And those guys are not always.
I'm talking about when you're scouting a guy, you look at Richardson and you're like, my God, especially when you put him up against somebody like Pickens, or you put him up against Young in Carolina, and you're like Pickens struggled because he has baby hands. You know what I'm saying? And Young, though he has played well the last couple of games, maybe his problem was that he was thrown in there too soon. You know what I'm saying? But Young was coming high off of Alabama in their national championships and how well they played. And so he got more elevated by that. And it was a talent around him. But Richardson has the size, he has the tools, but the brain. That's what I feel like he's lacking.
And he had a small resume in college, man. Like they were going off of like I think it was like 10 games or something that he played,
Like
man.
Zach
It
Wilson.
wasn't.
Yeah, you got to stop doing that. I mean, these are Zach Wilson
Same thing
and
they did with
Richardson.
Trubisky.
What's that?
Yeah, dude. I was going to bring that up. The same thing they did with Trubisky, exactly. You know that's the type of shit. You know, there's a lot of quarterbacks that they've done that with, man. They come in, they get hot for a short, you know, a 10-game span, and they're like, this dude's just fucking killer. And they come into the NFL, and it doesn't. It's just.
Well, you wonder though.
As soon as somebody,
these analysts, these Schefters, and these other guys, they also give these guys such high grades, and especially when they have a small sample pool that these people have done with. You know what I'm saying? And it's
well,
just,
that's the thing is like these analysts are one thing, but for scouts to be giving these guys high grades, it blows me away, man. Your guys, you know, if we're seeing this sitting here as casual, I mean, we're a little more than casual fans, but you know, we actually break this shit down. But I mean, for us to be sitting here seeing this shit, you got to hope the scouts are seeing this shit, and it's like for them to be giving these guys high grades above some of these other guys that are coming out here and Bo Nix, you know, like they had Richardson scouted ahead of Bo Nix and all that, man. Like it just, it's unbelievable, man. And I know Bo Nix only came out a year later, but they played in college together and they got scouted together, and it just they always said that Richardson, you know, was going to be better than Nix, man. And I was like, no way, dude.
You hit it perfect on the head, D-Lo. Look, dude, we listen to the professionals because they're professionals, so we listen to them. And we watch it with our own eyes. And sometimes we don't see what the fuck they're talking about. And every time we bring it up, usually more often than not saying like you're a fucking guru, I'm a guru, or Phil's a guru. More often than not, like we see what's happening, and this is bullshit. And you call bullshit, and like it happens. I don't think Phil, in all my wildest dreams, I never thought you'd be a fucking genius. But there's sometimes when you say some shit when it comes to football that like I might not agree with, whatever, but it makes sense and look at it, and yet there it is. I do the same thing. You look at it and Deagle looks at it, it's like, holy shit, you might be on to something. We do the same thing with Deagle. Deagle's like, nah, man, I'm not feeling it. I don't. Look, dude, by all means, we're not professionals. What we do, professional perform, but at the same time, it's like, holy dog shit. Like, how do these guys that are professionals that get paid for the shit, did they not see it, or are they just like putting out the adverb there to fucking, hey, this dude's good at running, is the best fucking play action guy I've got. Holy shit, who the fuck was thinking about
that? Yeah, no, I agree, man. Absolutely. It just, you know, like I said, these guys are professionals, and we're just guys sitting here on our couches making a YouTube show. But I mean, there's some things that are some things that are blatantly obvious, man. Like, you know, Anthony Richardson was not going to be a good quarterback coming into this league. I don't know. I don't know who scouted him. Like he had good numbers in college for the 10 games that he played or whatever, but that's too small of a resume to bring him in and make him your franchise quarterback on, dude.
Yeah.
And people are, you know what it is? People are so scared to miss that guy that they're like, you got to do this. You got to draft this guy. You know, you got to draft him. And they lay their jobs on the line because most franchises are only going to give you a shot to draft one quarterback. And if it don't turn out, they're gonna ship your ass down the road.
I agree,
yeah, really what it comes down to is that's it, quarterback. I mean, Nobody stakes their livelihood on offensive linemen, which they should.
I agree.
Well, they don't make. I mean, I understand that they make a huge difference in the game, but when it comes to the stat sheet and winning and losing, like, no, you're right though. I mean, that's the foundation of the house, and if the foundation's not built right, the house crumbles. So, any smart GM, any smart GM is going to make sure that their quarterback's protected. So, but anyway, we're burning time.
Yeah, we are. We're running behind crazy today. Anyway, we'll jump into the next game. We had Seattle picking up a 26-21 victory over the New York Jets. The Jets dropped to 3-9. Seattle moves up to 7-5. Seattle is 4-1 on the road this season, while New York is 2-4 at home. Really, the difference here, the Jets came out hot. The Jets came out, put up 21 points before halftime, and they were looking good. And they put up 0 points in the second half, and that was the difference. And the key was the Jets Rodgers throwing an interception to former New York Jet and first-round draft pick bias, Leonard Williams, and him returning it 92 yards for a touchdown. And then the running back from Seattle running it in late in the fourth quarter to give Seattle the win. It was heartbreaking, but it's hard to say heartbreaking because you're used to this as a Jet fan. And I told you, D'Lo, I said, they coming out playing like hot like this, but I knew in the back of my mind it wouldn't hold. There's no way it would have.
Yeah.
They gave us false hope, as they always do. And, the Jets lost. Rodgers, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's only sacked twice, but Breece Hall has really struggled over the last few games on the ground. He's great altogether. The guy can get 100 combined yards a game, receiving and rushing, but he's not really picked it up rushing-wise. You know what I'm saying? So, but Devontae Adams and him have hooked up. That's another reason why I said he'll be back, because we have Devontae under contract for the next 3 years. So, unless they want to trade him and trade Rodgers or whatever, and who doesn't like the sound of your 2 starting receivers, Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson? So I say bring him back for one more season because we already paid him, might as well. So, but yeah, the Jets do what they normally do. They let me down. And D'Lo, what's your thought on this game?
It was crazy, man. Like, I was flipping back and forth between it and the Bears game for a little bit. I think it was that game and the Bears game. Anyway, I ended up in the second half of that Jets game. I foreseen what was coming, man. Their offense went dead. It was like they couldn't do anything. I don't know where the Seattle defense came from in the second half, but boy, they were alive. And every time you guys looked like you had a little bit of momentum going, they'd shut your asses down. So it just, it is what it is, man. I know that Aaron Rodgers has looked better the past, few weeks or whatever it may be, but I still get that feeling, man, like the way he just, he just drops his head and shakes his head and shit. Like, you just get that feeling like, man, he's checked out, dude. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem. You see a guy that has the fire out there, and then I see Rodgers, and I'm like, yeah, that dude's just kind of coming into work every day. You know what I mean? So,
well, yep. I mean, he was heralded when they signed him, and it was like the greatest thing. And how the tables have turned in New York. What do you think, Bennett, about the Jets letting this win get out of their hands and Seattle pulling it out?
This was a crazy game. I won't try to go too long with it, but there was blocked field goals, blocked punts, all kinds of fucking crazy shit that happened at the beginning of the game.
Extra points.
You didn't know where it was going to go, and then Aaron Rodgers very, very, very significantly let you know where it was going to go when he started out the second half. This dude is 3-time MVP,
Before.
Yeah,
4-time
3 or
MVP.
4. Yeah.
Yeah, badass quarterback, man, and he's just a team killer. He's just like the biggest. And I'm sure if you ever got to know him personally, you would think this was even more once you walk away with the conversation. This dude is the biggest piece of shit the world's ever seen.
Well, I mean, come on. Come on.
Yeah. We're talking Osama bin Laden, you know, like there's some bad people out there. So,
No, Osama's gone, and I think this motherfucker should be number one on the hit list from America.
He does have 4
Jesus
MVPs, bud.
Yeah,
He won.
He's a fucking moron.
He was
They're
an
getting ready to
MVP.
release a Netflix episode where he just actually tells it all, and I can't wait to see it because he's going to say the most outlandish, outright shit. Pretty much, he's on drugs the whole time.
Ayahuasca.
well, yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll release that video until after his career's over to say that he's actually played games high on drugs. But
No, he just came out and said, "I wish that they wouldn't release so much shit that they did on the Netflix episode."
That's neither here nor there, though. I mean, he is a 4-time MVP. He won it in 2011, 2014.
Yeah, he used to be the
2020,
baddest player.
2021.
Now he is subpar at best, and they should not keep him, nor should they keep him around. He should not be a fucking somebody to help in the next quarterback. No,
I can tell you this much. As a Jet fan, he's put up better numbers than any quarterback that we have had since maybe
Chad Pennington.
no, like Fitzmagic season was pretty strong there. Yeah, look at that. So I mean, and Chad Pennington couldn't hold the jock strap of Benny Testaverde.
This dude is trash, and he's a cancer to everyone that ever fucking touches anything around him.
Well, or it could just be the Jet curse. Who knows?
No, it's not. It's just him. He actually done it in Green Bay before he got there, so I know it's him.
All right, well, we'll move on from the Jets and the Seahawks game. We're going to move on to the Commanders rebounding back. Don't even say it, Bennett. Don't even say it. The Commanders won 42-19 over the Titans. The Titans dropped down to 3-9. Commanders moved to 8-5. Levis wasn't horrible. 212 yards, 2 touchdowns. He came in trying to play his part, but Jaden Daniels, he had 4 TDs in this game, and they ended their skid at 3 losses and rebounded with the win. Bennett, what did you think about this game?
The Commanders are a decent team. They're not great, as everybody thought they were at the beginning of the season, but they're not great. They got plenty of fucking holes they need to fix, including on the offense, including the quarterback situation. This kid's a rookie, he's still first year. Got to remember that. He's done a great job, but I'm not taking away from that. Still a rookie, though. And the Titans are just a miserable, godforsaken team that has talent and just it's not after year. It's more like watching these guys. It's a slow kill. It's like down after down, series after series. You just watch them commit fucking offense after. They're like the AFC version of the Bears. So I was not surprised by this. Good job for the Commanders getting that win. But I mean, who expected the Tennessee Titans to win this game?
You did. You actually picked them. And you picked Titans because you said the Titans are a great team. Did you know?
I was high on ayahuasca.
D'Lo, what do you think about this game?
You know, like Bennett said, man, the Commanders are they're an up and coming team. With a good young quarterback. I mean, he's gonna have his moments that, you know, he's not great because he's young, but he's definitely got a bright future ahead of him. Man, every time I watch the Commanders, I like that Terry McLaurin more and more. That dude's a good receiver, and he just doesn't. You don't hear a lot about him, but he's good, man. He's quietly good, and
8 catches, 6 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Man. He showed up. Idea. A minute?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if we lost D'Lo or what. He's not.
It seems like I'm the only one that has good internet these days.
Well, the wind.
can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Now. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, man. My phone went onto the lock screen and then it fucks everything up when it does that. But anyway, the Commanders are a good young up and coming team with a good young up and coming quarterback. You know, he's gonna have his highs and lows, blah, 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 blah. The Titans are a fucking mess. I don't think their coaching scheme fits good. I don't think they got a good quarterback down there. Their leading receiver is on the tail end of his career, and I'm not saying that the dude don't have a couple decent years left in him, but if you're leaning on him so heavily, he's going to get worn out throughout the season, and you know it's just not a good combination for things. They got a solid defense down there. They've proven that throughout a few games, but they just get worn down because the offense is no good. So
agreed. All right, let's move on to the next one. The Texans pick up a 23-20 win over the Jaguars. This was the big game with the hit to Trevor Lawrence and not. They put him on IR, ending his season this year. Jaguars dropped to 2-10, so they are with the Giants and Raiders for running for the first round draft pick, number 1 pick overall. Texans moved up to 8-5. On paper, the Texans we thought were going to be way better than what they actually are this year. Even though they're 8-5, a lot of us thought that they should have a 10, maybe even 11 wins right now. I feel like Stroud is having a down year, but like I said before, teams have tape on him now. Maybe that's why he's not doing or putting up the numbers as he did last year. We saw Mixon, 101 yards, 1 touchdown. We've talked about Mixon and how strong he is. I'm really upset with this because the Texans are on a bye this week, but yeah, in one of our fantasy leagues, the playoffs started. Thanks, Zoe. And I don't get Nico Collins as my receiver this week. So, but he did show up in this game, 8 receptions, 119 yards. Bennett, what'd you think about the Texans and the Jaguars game and everything that was included with that with the Trevor Lawrence hit?
It was a really close game, and it shouldn't have been. The Texans should have ran away with this, but they didn't. They fumbled it, bumbled it, everything they could do to keep it close. I'm not so sure if the Texans didn't fucking throw a cheap shot in there to Trevor Lawrence and have
something that we did talk about, Bennett, because when we did the podcast the other night, Top 5, you had said afterwards, you were reading that this is not the first time of Al-Zahir being called a dirty player.
5 infractions.
Yeah, did you know that, D'Lo?
what is it?
Al-Zahir, who was ejected from this game for the hit on Trevor Lawrence. We talked about this on Top 5 the other day, where we said we didn't think he was a dirty player. There's not been previous things. And then once we ended, Bennett called me and we were talking, and he said, dude's got 5 infractions for shit like this year.
Then they need to start thinking about he's probably going to have to go, man. Like I said, you start getting labeled as a dirty player like that and shit, you've got to go, man. Like Burfict needed to go. If you can't adjust to the new rule, the way that the rules are, then there's no place in the league for you, man. Yeah, you know what I mean? People, it's already been shown over time what taking these headshots can do to people, and so to blatantly be a dirty player out there, I just don't think there's any room in the league for it.
He never had any infractions when it came to like hits like this, but he had infractions like to fighting with players after the play. Some of them were really minor, like personal fouls for taunting. There was no like late hits or unnecessary roughness, but there was fouls for after the play, getting into players and striking them or whatever, fighting with them or whatever. But no, it never hurt nobody. So this was his first impression for that. But we didn't think there was any. And when we got off the podcast, I looked it up and it was like, it's plain as day. And you just see, like, this dude has 5 infractions where he's been fined 5 times for him, like, not coinciding with like league play. So I didn't necessarily say he was like a dirty player and he was like headhunting, but at the same time, we thought this dude was pretty much innocent, where in fact he wasn't.
Just Trevor for 10 interception. What do you got about Matt Jones play after 235 yards, touch, no weapons, and he really in this game?
Hey, Phil.
Yeah.
Usually, I've been friends with you a long time, man. So I'm usually used to having to decipher your words because you talk so retardedly. But right now, you're cutting in and out so bad that I can't even make out your sentences. You know what I'm saying?
I've heard that. Do you hear me? Here it's been going all day, they said. So
no, you sound like
you're
Terminator.
Yeah, we lost him.
No, I'm here.
Oh no, you actually your picture left for a second, then you just came back.
All right. I wanted to ask you guys about Matt Jones and his play afterwards. What do you guys
I think
think
he
about
did
that?
well.
I didn't even hear what his stats were, man, because you were cutting in and out so bad.
235 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 20 of 32. And that was all in the second half after Matt Jones going down with injury.
I didn't even know his stats. I just watched the game, and I thought he did well coming in. It's like, by no means I think he's a replacement, but he like proved himself. So I mean, good for him. And Jacksonville is such a fucking nightmare and a mess of everything. So I mean, good for him for doing that. But son of a bitch, pray for you, Mac Jones.
Why are you praying for Matt Jones? It's Trevor Lawrence that needed the prayer.
He's got to start the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Lawrence is out.
Yep. But he kept him in the game. He kept him in the game, and to only lose 23-20, Matt Jones, he put up 14 points for him. So I mean, that's all you can ask for. All right, let's move on, guys, to the next game. We had shoot, hold on for a minute. I don't know what the hell I just did here. We had the Rams picking up a 21-14 win over the Saints. The Saints dropped to 4-8. The Rams moved to 6-6 on the season. Stafford, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. But for the Saints, Carr, 184 yards, 1 touchdown. D'Lo, what'd you think?
You're on the wrong week, bro.
What?
Jameis Winston started for the Saints this week.
No, he started for the Browns. Bud.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you're wrong, bud. You're wrong.
There you go.
So and Derek Carr better hope that he stays healthy, man, because I heard that Taysom Hill's on IR and shit like that. So I don't even know who they would start. I think they ended up releasing that Spencer Rattler dude that they had starting behind Carr when Carr went down. So I don't even know who they got as their backup, but I don't know, man. The Saints are one of those things that I could almost see them being in the market for a new quarterback next year. They're definitely going to have a new regime. So, does the new regime want to come in there and deal with Carr's ups and downs? You know what I mean? So it's just one of those deals. Like, what do you do, man? But I don't know, man. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I don't I don't expect great things out of either of these teams. Mac Jones played good, but do I expect it to be sustainable? Absolutely not. So,
Bennett, anything you want to add in on this Rams and Saints game?
Not really. I really thought the Rams defense was going to be stronger. Well, I thought for the past weeks that the Rams defense was good to go. They didn't show it here, and I mean, they're capable. They got the talent, but goddamn, don't come out and fucking lay an egg like that.
I agree. It was it wasn't pretty, we could say. So I mean, they didn't lay egg, but I mean they lost by 7. The Rams are
No, I
not a
didn't
bad
mean by
football
like
team.
they laid up a 0. I'm just saying that like fucking they played like shit when they were more capable of playing a lot better.
I agree. All right, let's move on. We had the Bucks up a 26-23 win over the Panthers in overtime. This was a game where I believed that the Bucks were going to run away with it. The Bucks moved to 6-6. The Panthers dropped to 3-9. But the Panthers were in this game. They played close. Bryce Young, once again, having a good game, 298 yards, a touchdown. I watched part of this game, and I was really shocked at how Baker Mayfield had played. He got hit a few times, left the game, came back. Nobody's expecting the Panthers to be playing this good late in the season, but they are. What'd you think about this game, D'Lo?
who was this? The Panthers and Bucks.
Yep.
Yep. It is what it is, man. I mean, they're the division rivals. Really not much to say about it. I mean, with the way that the Falcons have been playing lately, the Buccaneers could very well run away with this division at the end of the season. So,
I agree. Bennett, what do you think about this game? Bennett, you there?
I think he went to take a piss.
Oh, okay.
I think he went to take a piss. Go ahead, Bennett. We'll come back to you. One thing I can say is Bryce Young's making it hard. If the organization intended to move on at the end of the season, Bryce Young's making it a harder decision to do so.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
He's played better since that benching and him sitting back while Dalton came in and played. You know what I'm saying? Like, he took the benching well. He sat back, and he's come out and he's played excellent, really. The last 3 weeks maybe have been some of the best football that Bryce Young has played in his early NFL career. So, I mean,
yeah.
And he's had to deal with a lot. Like I said, he came in last year, got his ass whipped. Lost. His team was decimated. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the whole thing about it is, dude, he's on a terrible team, man. So it's just
real bad.
You know. But man, how many more games do we got, dude? We're at a minute. We're at an hour 30 already. Hour and a half.
I know, but I'm back. Hey, let me give me just a few touches on this game. It was heartbreaking to me for 2 reasons. The Panthers have been playing better, and Baker Mayfield, which I've never been a supporter of, is playing lights out, but was getting ready to lose the game because he's a fucking moron sometimes. But the Panthers, man, they are playing compared to what they should be. They got a terrible team. You just said it, D'Lo. But they are playing lights out football this last month. So it sucks to take a loss like that. But I mean, your team's shitty. And you built your team shitty, so that's what you get at the end of the day.
Yep. All right, we'll move on to what a lot of people thought was going to be the game of the week, and maybe it didn't disappoint. The Eagles picked up a 24-19 win over the Ravens. It was a battle of the 2 best running backs who have never opposed to be each other head to head. Never have they in their careers so far. Tucker missed a chance to add to this in their showdown. He missed a kick, and you know, it was really about those running backs and what they were doing. And Saquon, he put up the better numbers: 107 yards, 1 touchdown. D'Lo, what'd you think about this game? The Eagles did move to 10-2. The Ravens dropped to 8-5. D'Lo, tell me what you thought about this game.
The Eagles are just they're hot right now, man. They're doing their thing. They've just kind of found their identity, which is on the legs of Saquon, man. I mean, that's what they believed they were missing when they had DeAndre Swift. Why the Bears thought that was going to be the guy to lead us, I have no idea. I mean, DeAndre had a decent year with the Eagles, but I'll still never understand that deal. But anyway, Saquon has definitely been an upgrade for them. He's given them more stability in the run game, which allows Jalen Hurt to only have to throw the ball downfield when needed. It just works out better, man. They're not trying to nail them big 40 and 50 yard passes like they were last year, man. And so, I just think they're more of a balanced team, and just watch out for them boys in the playoffs. They've stacked up against good teams and came out on top. So, just watch out for the Eagles. We're saying that the high flying Detroit Lions may be the team to be in the playoffs, but the Eagles could come right into Detroit and upset them, man, in a heartbeat.
Yep. Anything from you, Bennett, on this game?
Running back versus running back. That's what they said before the game, and they was true to the word. Saquon won it out, so the Eagles won at the end of the day, and I think the Ravens get a lot more hype than what they deserve because they're a decent team, but they beat I don't know. They match up better against some teams than they do against others, and this was not a good matchup, and they got outplayed.
Agreed, man. I agree. All right, we'll move on to the Sunday night game from last week, and it was Buffalo picking up a 35-10 win over the 49ers. The 49ers dropped to 5-7 on the season. The Bills moved to 10-2. And in this game, we did not see the greatest. I know there was a lot of snow there in Buffalo. And quarterback-wise, we got 148 yards, but 2 touchdowns from Allen. And that's far below what his current numbers are. He was 13-17. But this was the return game for Brock Purdy, and he was 11 for 18, 94 yards. No picks, no touchdowns. But Buffalo picked up the big win. D'Lo, what'd you think about this?
I don't think that Allen's numbers tell the story. Buffalo looked good out there, man. I mean, they acted like that snow didn't. It may have slowed down their pass game a little bit, but they were running all over the place. I think Allen had not only 2 passing touchdowns. I think he also had a rushing touchdown. If not, he came close to one. But Buffalo looked like the better team out there. They also looked like the better team when they played Kansas City. Watch out for Buffalo again, just like I said with Philadelphia, man. Buffalo, they're getting hot at the right time, and it looks like things are going to go through Buffalo in the playoffs. And boy, that could be bad. I mean, if a West Coast team, I don't know who the AFC playoff teams are. I know the Ravens,
Chiefs, Ravens, Buffalo. Those are the top. Steelers,
San Diego.
Steelers,
San Diego.
San Diego.
That
was a big one.
That could kill San Diego. Yeah, I know their style is running, but if they get down, they're going to have to rely on Herbert. And Man, if that weather's bad in Buffalo, it could be bad. I think it could be bad for Kansas City to have to come to Buffalo. Like, and right
Nobody
now,
wants to go to Buffalo, I'll tell you that.
the AFC playoffs actually go through Kansas City, but Buffalo's probably going to at least get one home game. So
Yeah, I agree. And Allen did have a rushing touchdown, and the big news was Buffalo running for 220 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground. That's what won them the game. Bennett, what'd you think about this game? Your input on it?
It was a great game, but it was weather induced, and I think we're going to see more of that. Unfortunately for us, I don't think we're going to see that in the playoffs too much. Detroit plays in a dome, and Buffalo plays outside. So if you got to go to Buffalo, that's the least place you want to play.
That's true.
If you got to go to Green Bay, that's the least place you want to play.
but it gets fucking cold in Kansas City too, man. Kansas City's bad. I've seen that shit be nasty in Kansas City.
It gets cold in Baltimore.
That's more like Chicago. It's a wind city where they don't get so much snowfall, but like the cold weather and snowfall. Snowfall is minimum. The wind is highly elevated.
Are you reading off a teleprompter like Kamala?
I know.
What?
All right, hey, let's move on. Let's move on to the Monday night game. It's the last game for us to cover.
Hold the fuck on. Hold on. I'm just saying. You know what? You go to Detroit. Guess what? It's warm in there.
That's true.
Yeah.
Any team can win because they're a bullshit fucking team.
Here he goes with that shit again.
All right, guys.
You go to Buffalo, you go to Kansas City, it's hard to win.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philly.
I'm going to Philadelphia, Phil. First round, second round, maybe, but third round to go to Detroit.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Well, let's move to that Monday night game, and we had the Broncos. Talk about AFC playoff teams. The Broncos picking up a 41-32 win over the Browns. The Broncos moved to 8-5. The Browns dropped to 3-9. But we saw Jameis Winston throwing for 497 yards, 4 touchdowns, while Bo Nix throws for 294, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions.
He broke a record.
Which one?
The most passing yards in Cleveland Brown history.
Oh yeah.
Who did he break? Was it Heath Schulers or something?
No, it's probably Bernie Kosar.
Bernie Kosar, yeah.
Bennett, tell me what you thought about this game.
What?
Tell me what you thought about this game, big man.
Really hard. This was actually really hard, but I'll try to keep it short and sweet. Cleveland is right on the cusp of being a playoff team, while also having a shitty team. It's really, really, really hard. But Denver is not on the cusp. They're on the up and up, and they got a shitty team also, but they're making the most of their opportunities. So when it comes down to it, Cleveland is get rid of them like you usually do. No more Browns, and Broncos are more like, yeah, I'll take a chance on them.
All right. D-Lo, what'd you think about this game?
Yeah, I mean, like Bennett said, the Broncos are on the up and up. It's crazy, man, because I believe that Sean Payton's going to make a whole lot of changes still this offseason, and they're going to be a playoff team this year, man. And he's still gonna rip that roster down to its bones and put the people in place that he wants there.
Yeah, I mean,
And
he's in his, what, third year there?
Second or third, yeah, something like that.
This is Peyton's second year.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just
kid, all that kid they have problems with, he's gonna fix that.
Yeah. And like I said, and that's the crazy thing is they're going to be a playoff team already, and he's going to continue to just build that team up to be solid, man. I mean, it's the Parcells way, man. He's part of the Parcells coaching tree. He does things the way he wants to do it. He already admitted that Russell Wilson and him just didn't click, and it's just one of those deals, man, that he's obviously getting good numbers out of Bo Nix. Bennett said it a couple times this year that he likes that kid McLaughlin. Every time I've turned on a Broncos game, that McLaughlin kid's running good, man. So he may not have big numbers, but he sure looks solid out there when he is on the field. So, but I'm seeing more out of Sutton than I expected. I guess it's only because there's really no other weapons there. They traded Jerry Jeudy away and shit like that. But
he played in this game against them.
No, it's just like it's just like what's that, bud?
Who had better numbers?
I don't know. Sutton had good numbers too.
Sutton had 6 catches, 102 yards, no touchdowns. Jeudy had 9 catches, 235 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Damn.
So I mean that's half of his passing.
That's a revenge game if I've ever seen one.
That's facts, man. That is facts. But you also got to look at Jeudy over the last, what was it? He's been there for, I'd say over the last 3 games, he's got 142 yards in one game, 85 yards in the next, 235 yards. That's showing that, you know what I'm saying, like he felt like he was misused, and they're using him there. Well, you got the right quarterback is what it is. He's got the right quarterback now in Jameis Winston.
Yeah, well, it's crazy, man, because when he got traded to Cleveland from Denver, everybody said, well, that's going to be a good fit for him because Jeudy he's not a number one guy. And Amari Cooper was there. They ended up trading Amari Cooper to Buffalo and sliding Jeudy right in, and Judy's been putting up numbers. It's been wild, man. So, like you said, it probably helped. What's that?
He probably had good numbers, but he probably had an interception ratio went off the record too.
Well, I mean, with Jameis Winston, you never know. That dude could have 450 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. I mean, his numbers are just wild. But at the same time, I mean, he's going to give you the opportunity every game to go up and get the ball. So,
well said. All right, guys, let's move on to the picks, man. We're just going for 1 hour and 45 minutes. I'm going to read these off quick, and we're going to get these written down. All right, we're starting with tonight's game as the Packers travel to Detroit to play the Lions. I'm taking the Lions. Who you got, D'Lo?
I'm going with Detroit.
Bennett?
You already know where I'm going, the Pack.
All right.
Hurts my feelings to even say that shit.
All right, next game up, man. We got the Jets traveling to Miami to play the Dolphins. I'm taking the Dolphins. Who you got, D'Lo?
Jets going to Miami.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm taking the Dolphins.
Bennett?
Ain't no way Aaron Rodgers is going to lose his fucking last game he ever fucking starts. Jets.
It's not the last.
Why is
game.
this the last game?
It's not the last.
Why is
game.
this the last game?
Yeah, I know. All right. The Saints travel to New York to play the Giants. I'm gonna take the Saints. Who you got, D'Lo?
Yeah, I'm taking the Saints.
Bennett.
Saints.
All right. The Browns travel to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. I'm gonna take the Steelers. Who you got, D'Lo?
The Browns traveled to Pittsburgh.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh, man. That's gonna be a close game though. I should have flipped a coin on that.
Who you got, Bennett?
Pittsburgh.
All right. The Falcons travel to Minnesota to play the Vikings. This is Kirk Cousins returning to Minnesota. First time. I'm taking the Vikings. Who you got, D'Lo?
Yeah, I'm taking the Vikings, man. This could be Kirk Cousins' last game starting.
Yep. Who you got, Bennett?
Yeah, Vikings. Kirk Cousins is done.
All right. Las Vegas Raiders travel down to Tampa Bay to play the Bucks. I'm taking the Raiders to pull an upset here. Who you got, D'Lo?
I'm going with the Bucks. There ain't no way the Raiders are going down there and winning.
Who you got, Bennett?
They're not traveling all the way across the fucking country to come get a win. No, I'm taking the Bucks.
All right. The Panthers travel to Philadelphia to play the Eagles. I'm taking the Eagles. Who you got, D'Lo?
You didn't want to take the Panthers as your upset here or what?
I did not. I did not.
I'm going with the Eagles, man.
Bennett?
Eagles.
All right. Matt Jones and the Jaguars travel to Tennessee to play the Titans, and I think the Jaguars are going to pick up the win. Who you got, D'Lo?
Man, this is a battle of bad quarterbacks, man. It's going to come down to who's got the better defense, and I believe Tennessee does. I'm going to go with Tennessee.
All right, Bennett, who you got?
Ain't no way I'm going with the goddamn Jaguars. Tennessee.
All right. The Seahawks travel back. They just played the Cardinals 2 weeks ago. They're playing them again. Seattle and the Cardinals. I think the Cards are going to pick up the win here. I'm taking the Cards. Who you got, D'Lo?
God, man, I don't have no faith in the Seattle right now, but I don't have no faith in Arizona either. Give me Seattle.
Bennett?
I think they split at Seattle.
It would be a split. Seattle won last time.
Oh, well, there you go. I got Arizona.
All right. Now you chose Seattle.
You're confusing Phil, man. Stop it.
All right. Buffalo travels to L.A. to play the Rams. I'm taking the Bills. Who you got, D'Lo?
Yeah, I'm taking Buffalo. Now they're going all the way across the country. That's
Yep,
that's
to
usually
LA.
not good for them East Coast teams, but I'm gonna go Buffalo. They're good right now.
Bennett?
Buffalo.
I'm watching Buffalo, man, because their offensive coordinator, his name keeps coming up with the Bears, something Brady, and they're saying that he's big on the Bears list of coaches. So I've been keeping an eye on Buffalo. They got Josh Allen, so that's a big factor. But man, that offense does move down the field. That's for sure.
All right, next up, we got your guys' Chicago Bears traveling to San Francisco to play the 49ers. I'm taking the Bears. Who you got, D'Lo?
We're going to San Francisco.
Yep.
I think I'm taking San Francisco.
10 o'clock.
I'm taking.
Who you got, Bennett?
San Francisco. There ain't no way the Bears pulling this shit off.
I think you do. All right. The Chargers travel to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. I'm still taking the Chiefs. Who you got, D'Lo?
Man, that's another good game, man. I could see the Chargers easily like winning this game. But I'm gonna go Kansas City. You gotta roll with them until they prove you otherwise. I seen that Buffalo win coming, but I don't see a win here. So I'm gonna go with Kansas City.
Bennett, who you got?
I agree with D'Lo, except for Harbaugh is not part of the faction that you usually put in there, and Harbaugh's going to give NC a hard time. He's going to outsmart Reed. I go with the Chargers.
All right. And then we got the Monday night game. The Bengals traveling to Dallas to play the Cowboys. I'm taking the Bengals. Who are you taking, D'Lo?
I should hope that's Cincinnati across the board.
Bennett?
Cincinnati.
All right. Well, people, we went a little long today, almost 2 hours, been an hour and 50 minutes. We appreciate you sticking with us. Bennett, you got anything you want to say before we go?
Yeah, please do not follow anything that Phil does or says. It's really hard to understand him when he speaks. It's harder to even fucking try to read what he writes. So, hey, we love you, people. Please subscribe. Please watch. Please share.
All right.
Yeah,
D'Lo,
man. Like Bennett said, man, like, share, subscribe, man. We appreciate all you guys for watching. Our numbers have been going crazy. Like we don't even know how to take it. Like we went from getting 4 views per video to 40 and 50 views a video after a couple days. Man, that's huge for us. We're not somebody that's expecting this to be a million view per show type of channel, but we appreciate every view we get. So
yep.
It's awesome, man.
All right, so we'll be back with a little Jetta Bear Down in the coming days. The college football polls did get released. We haven't done a podcast on that, but we will this weekend, and we'll run that down on a little college game day and stuff. So, hey, we appreciate you watching.
We got some UFC coming up this weekend, I believe. So we may pop on and do a. But this weekend, I don't know what UFC it is coming up, but we may pop on and do a live watch along with that or something. I know Rose Namajunas is on that card. So,
all right, but hey, please like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you on the flip side. Thank you, guys.
Later.
Peace.